Alright, you probably recognise this pool, but it's gone green again. The customer texted me, so I've popped over to have a look. Mosquito larvae and mosquitoes flying around everywhere. Lovely. No hanging around. Time to treat the water. I've got no shot because I used it on the last job before I got to this one, so it's going to have to be chlorine granules and flop. Mixing up some chlorine first and then pouring it in. Then I get the granular flock out. This is going to help combine all the particles, settle them down to the floor, so leaving me a nice crystal clear pool. That's what I hope for anyway. Last little dribble into the skimmer. Then I'm going to brush the whole pool, getting all the algae off the surfaces, come back the next day and crystal clear, just what I wanted. Set the vacuum gear up, not priming the hose though, as I don't want to disturb all the settled debris. It's all coming up quite nice. Obviously some bits floating around on top. I'll obviously net them afterwards. And there's a few stubborn stains as well, so I'll give them a brush as well. A little bit of netting then. Drop a couple of sparkle tabs in the skimmer. Come back the next day again then, crystal clear. I gave it a quick hoover in the net, checked all the chemicals, and that's ready for the heat wave. Holler your boy for the pool work. Alright, come to get this pool ready for the summer. It's a little bit green. What I'm going to do is check the chemicals first. Obviously no chlorine and the pH is already looking really high. So what I'm going to have to do is get some pH minus, or dry acid, throw that in to lower the pH, and then I'm going to get some chlorine granules and some shock, throw that in the pool, brush the whole pool to disturb the algae. The pool was struggling to clear, so I had to come back and flop the pool, which is what I done and which is why it looks like it does now. To get the vac set up, prime the pump, prime the hose and start vacuuming. So what it looks like is snow on the floor basically, but you've got to be so careful when you vac in after you flop because it's so sensitive. Any sudden movements in the pool and it will just make it go really messy and cloudy again. But it's all coming up nicely. There's a lot of leaves in there, you can see by the basket. This is where all the debris goes that I hoover up. A full bucket load at the end. And that's the job done. Holler your boy for the pool work. Alright, I've come to Derek Tresora's house then. He's away training for his next fight and he's rung me and told me his pool's gone green. So I've gone down there to sort it out. I've got the shock out, 3 1kg tubs. Sprinkle them all around the pool. This is going to kill off all the algae. Hopefully pretty quickly as well. I'll leave the pumps running through this process. After I've put in the shock, I'll get the brush out, brush the whole pool, disturbing all the algae off the surface, and net the pool. Come back a couple of days later, it's nice and clear, all the algae is dead, settled on the floor. Get the vac set out and start hoovering. A few leaves in the bottom. Get the net out again, net off these last bits on the top floating around. Add in some more chlorine granules so they don't go green again. That's that job done. Follow your boy for the pool work. Alright, so I got called out to do an inflatable hot tub. It's not in the worst condition, but you definitely don't want to be bathing in it. The water's gone pretty murky, and when they do on these little hot tubs, you're best off just draining them down and cleaning them out. So I got it all running, took the filter out. These are really small, so they need cleaning like every day. The customer's got 2 of these, so they switch them up now and then and clean them. I didn't know if this blue paste would work well on this hot tub, but I gave it a go and it done the job. Sprayed down both filters then with some instant filter cleaner. Start dropping the water level in the hot tub. And then as it's draining, I'll get the jet wash out and rinse it as it goes. Also do the outside. Nearly there then. It's a puddle pump that I'm using, but I can't have it flat on the bottom, otherwise it gets stuck to the floor. Still helps to get most of it out. Next I'll get some hot tub cleaner, spray that all around. Brush it in, cleaning off any stains and grime. Rinse it down again. Hoover out the last little bits in the bottom. And that's it all cleaned out, looking good. I'll start filling it up again, and that is the water pressure. I definitely won't be hanging around to see that fill up. So I'll put the filter back together, put it back in the hot tub. Same with the return as well. And that's job done. Holler your boy for the pool work. Alright, so I'm back over at Paradise Wildlife Park, and this time I'm here to clean out the tapir pool. And I'm not even going to lie to you, I didn't know what a tapir was before I come to Paradise Wildlife Park. But they're nice and friendly. There's 2 of them, and their names are Tim and Tamara. And every week their pool needs cleaning out, and I'll tell you why. Because if you didn't know, tapirs only like to poo in water. And if they can't do it in the pool, they'll even do it in their own drinking water. Now that's draining. The main drain sometimes gets clogged up, so Ollie had the honours of clearing that. Took around an hour and a half to 2 hours to empty, and yes, that is exactly what you think it is all over the floor. So we started brushing it all up into piles. There's about 3 big buckets in total, and yes, it did smell, as you can imagine. It's not the worst I've smelt, but it's definitely not nice. Time to scoop it up all into the buckets then. That all then gets chucked onto the muck pile on the other side of the park. Come back and start jet washing. It's all coming up nicely, and even Cam Whitnall's here again to help us. It was pretty handy. As we were jet washing, it all just went down the drain, so there was no need for submersible pumps. The last thing we needed to do then was squeegee the last bits of water. And that's the pool all cleaned out, looking lovely again. Time to get it refilled, which would take around a day or so. Tim and Tamara wasted no time. They got in as soon as they could, and it looks like they approve. And that is that job done. Go on, give us a smile. Ollie your boy for the pool work. Alright, so I've been called out to sort out this pool, which has been left abandoned along with the house, and the new owners want to get it all fixed up and working. First thing I'm going to do is drop in a submersible pump to get it emptied, check out all the rubbish floating around. And by the way, it smells so bad. Come back the next day and there's a lot more rubbish than I first thought. Aaron's definitely struggling with that smell. We tried to brush it all to one end, get all the bits out. We then got the sludge pump to help speed things along. There was all sorts of rubbish, polystyrene, twigs, leaves, there's tarpaulin in there, and there's even breeze blocks. It's a flat bottom pool, which is making it even harder, so that's why we had the hoover out to drop the pump in, pump the water out of that, and then go again. We're getting there though. Most of the rubbish is out, just the sludge to get rid of now. The whole of the pool surround is getting redone apart from the copings. None of them are loose, and the customer wanted to see if we can get them cleaned up. So I've given them a jet wash, sprayed some cleaner on there, and then given them another jet wash, and they're coming up just like new. Do the same on the inside of the pool. Also clean out the pipes, pretty dirty in there. Give the pool a last rinse down with the jet wash. Hoover out the last bits at the bottom of the pool. And that's that job done. Gone from an absolute swamp to a nice clean fresh looking pool, ready to move on to the next stages. Ollie your boy for the pool work. Alright, another pool I've come to get ready for the summer. You can already see it's not looking good. I'm going to take the winter debris cover off and see how it's looking underneath. I've got green froth floating on the top. The dog's not very impressed with the pool. Go to the plant room, put all the bungs back on the equipment, prime the pump, get that all running. Get the net out, net off all the bits floating on the top, all the leaves. Then get some shock. This is going to kill off all the algae. Brush the whole pool, disturbing all the algae off the surfaces. Come back a few days later and this is how we're looking. It's nice and clear, so I'm going to get the vacuum out, prime the pump and start hoovering. It's all coming up really well. Getting them last little bits and that's job done. Nice small pool with a swim jet. Holly your boy for the pool work. Alright, so we come to check out this pool late last year. The customers had just bought the house and they wanted to get it sorted out pretty quick. It'd been sitting around for about 8 years. So we came back, dropped the pump in, started emptying it. Derek Chisora even came to help. While the pool was emptying, I got the jet wash out and started cleaning the copings. They were coming up nice. There's so much sludge in this pool. It was a bit like grandma's. The smell was so bad though. The next day Derek came back, he was there before me, putting in a shift, brushing and shoveling up all the sludge. Paul Boy Banners was there too, grafting. We pushed up all the sludge, leaves and twigs into the shallow end, scooped it up into buckets, and then took them to a skip outside. Next job then, get the jet wash out again, start cleaning the inside. As you can see, the walls are pretty faded. It was painted before and the customer wants to go and paint it again. Also, they was pretty surprised at the depth of the pool, so they're considering shallowing the pool as well. So quite a bit more work to be done, so I'll post more videos as the job progresses. Hoover out the last bits in the bottom then, and that's us done for the day. Follow your boy for the pool work.